Oh, I wanna roll when I pull my hair up, kinda full cup, don't give a fuck, oh no.
What's up? It's your girl Cola. I'm coming to you today with my very first video. It's gonna be my first story time. I'm gonna basically tell you guys like a story like that's like really close to my heart, like that I feel like is not really talked about enough, and just in society, and like men just kind of brush it off like like as a woman that it's not important. One of the subjects that I'm gonna talk about, as you see from my title, is gonna be called miscarriages. My miscarriage story. Basically talking about how me and my fiance just like how we overcame it, and like how just as a woman it still affects me today. I'm sorry I look a little rough today. It's Sunday, so I'm not the prettiest. I mean, my hair is kind of put together, but it's not like how I would like it to look. But okay. So it started like whenever we found out I was first pregnant. It was like really like surprising. But before that, what happened was that whenever like back in August of 2015, was it 2015? Back in August 2015, I was like experiencing like a lot of pain, and I was getting like extremely sick. Like we would go to this restaurant called Cheddar's, and like I would just be so sick. Like I would be just like throwing up. Like I would be in a parking lot. Like after we ate, I threw up. And so like I was in so much pain, and I didn't understand why like my uterus and like my stomach like it was just hurting, and like couldn't nobody tell me like why my stomach was hurting. And I kept going to like a doctor, and the doctor, she kept telling me like, oh, you're just fine, like it's probably like your period or something, that's why you're experiencing it. So we ended up going to, what do we got, baby? Oh, we ended up going to the hospital. And the hospital, like, they didn't know, like, they didn't want to give me, like, a blood test. So they just, I peed on, I gave them a urine sample, and they took the urine sample, and, they told me I wasn't pregnant. At this time, I was on a birth control that's called, like, the Netspermine, which I do not recommend. It's just my own personal reasons, and this is exactly, the story is going to tell you why I don't, like, recommend it. But anyway, so, like, ended up, getting on, being on this, going to the hospital, and the hospital was like, oh, we can't tell. They asked me if I was on birth control. I told them yes. I was like, yeah, I'm on this one on. They're like, okay, well, we're going to do an MRI on you just to make sure. So they do this MRI on me, and they're like, oh, you have cysts on your ovaries, and that's why like you're experiencing this pain. This is why like you're going through all of this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, no problem. I was like, well, can you take out my birth control? And they're like, no, we can't do that. You have to schedule it with a physician. So I ended up like, scheduling it with this physician, just telling them like, the reason why. Like at the time, me and my fiance, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. And like I wasn't like, I wanted kids, but I kept hearing stories like if you stayed on birth control, like you wouldn't be able to have kids in the future, and like it would affect you and this, that, and the other. And I had already gained like a whole bunch of weight from like being a size 8 to becoming like a size like 14, 15, 16. Like just I was just getting bigger. So I was just like, I'm over it. I told my physician. My physician was like, okay, we're gonna take it out. So we ended up taking it out. Well, a week later, me and my fiance, we get into like this huge argument, like it's petty stuff. We're young. Well, I'm young. I'm 19 at the time. Well, I'm 20 at the time. Like I feel like I know everything in the world, and I just let people get in my ear, tell me about what I should do in my relationship, this, that, and the other. So we ended up breaking up. So he's still living with me because at the time we was paying bills together, and I feel like if your name is on the lease, there's no reason for me to kick you out. Like this is just as much as your house as it is mine. So he ended up, he stayed with us. He stayed, and we got back together. Well, I had went to like, I went to visit my best friend at college, because I hadn't seen her in like 2 months almost. And so I was like, I want to go visit her. So we ended up going to her homecoming. And I got back, and like I kept telling him, I was like, I do not feel good. He was like, it's probably because you got drunk. I'm like, no, it's a different type of sick. Like my stomach hurt. I feel like it did back in August. Mind you, this is like October. He's like, okay, well, You need to chill out, this, that, and other. So, we ended up like going. I remember like we ended up going to IHOP, and like I flipped out on this girl that we was with, and I was like telling her like to like shut up. I was like, you talking too much. You need to be quiet. Like I don't want to hear what you got to say. Like I'm ready to go home. Like I've been on the road, this, that, and the other. And he was like, you tripping, like you over here going off on people for like no reason. You don't even know why you mad. So I was like, okay, well, Michael, you're not understanding like me, and so you just wanna take whoever's side. So he's like, basically like, Nicole, you need to be quiet. So we ended up like 2 days later. I used to be like addicted to these things called like nuggets. And like they got Hershey's candy, they got like toffee and almond in them. But when I was pregnant, I used to eat like 3-4 bags of them at a time, and I didn't know I was pregnant at this time. My fiance, I had asked him, and I was like, look, I'm already done with my bag, can you go buy me another one from a store? And he was like, no. And I was like, why can't you go buy me another bag? He was like, man, you need to chill. You eating too much of them. Like, you need to chill out. And I just started, like, going crazy. I was like, you don't know my life. Like, you tell me you love me. Like, how you going to tell me you love me, but you ain't going to give me no candy? Like, we supposed to be in a relationship. Like, this is what people do in a relationship. He like, you crazy, you pregnant. You need to take a pregnancy test because you tripping. Like, you literally crying over some candy. So we ended up, he come back with the candy, and then we took a pregnancy test, like, and it didn't take nothing but 10 seconds, and it was a positive. At that time, I knew I wanted to be with him, and I knew I wanted to have kids with him, but I was 20, and I wasn't looking to have children. Like, I was still, like, I had just came back home from school to stay down here, to stay where I'm at, to take care of, like, my daddy and like, I wasn't in that space. I think that's everybody, but because I loved him, and I knew, like, okay, this is the person I know I'm going to be with, and my child is going to be well taken care of. I'm not going to have any of these problems. Like, we're going to work through this as a couple. Like, we're going to do this. I started to become happy. I thought I took the pregnancy test. The next day, I scheduled a doctor's appointment to confirm it. And sure enough, I was pregnant. But I wasn't just, like, 4 weeks pregnant like I just found out. I was 10 and a half. Like, I was 9 weeks pregnant when I found out. So I was I was almost 3 months, and I can remember, questioning the lady, and I'm like, you lying? She like, no, I can show you an ultrasound. She took my pregnancy test 3 times, took a blood test, and she's like, your HCG levels is high. We can do an ultrasound to show you. They ended up doing an ultrasound, and sure enough, the baby was 9 weeks. And I had been pregnant since August. So I ended up going to a different doctor. And my doctor, the newer doctor that I had, she was not happy because they had already did MRI testing on me and all of this other stuff. Well, I ended up having a miscarriage, like, the night before I went to my doctor's office. Me and my fiance, we were very intimate that night. And I ended up, my stomach started hurting, and I was like, oh my god, my stomach hurts, like, what's the problem? I was like, get off me, like, something's wrong, like, I need to go to the doctor, like, this isn't right. So we went to the hospital we went to couldn't tell me. They were like, we don't know yet, you're gonna have to wait till you go to the doctor's office tomorrow. I was like, okay, no problem. Ended up going to the doctor's office the next day, and at that time, I knew, because whenever I was in the hospital, I felt like I had to push, and that sounds crazy, and like, it sounds crazy, and people was like, you weren't even that far, so how would you have known, like, you had to push? Like, who knows those type of things? As a woman, you'll know, especially when it gets to that point, and my body, it knew. So I went to the bathroom, because I was like, I feel like I gotta push, or pee, like, I need to go. And I'm going to the bathroom, and I pushed, sure enough, and I saw my baby in the toilet. Like, I mean, it was small, but it was, to me, it hurt me. Even though I was only, at the time I miscarried, I was 10 and a half weeks pregnant. I had already told my family. My dad had finally come to terms with it. Like, my mom was excited. I told my fiance's mom. My fiance's mom was ecstatic. And we were, like, ready to do this. We were ready to be parents. And it was hard. It was hard. And I had ended up, miscarrying. We went to the doctor. The doctor confirmed it. At the time before they confirmed it, they ended up confirming it like 2 days later because they wanted to check my HCG levels. But I didn't want to believe it because I kept trying to. I'm the type of person where I'm very tough, and I put up a facade, like, oh, like everything's okay. I don't like people that I don't know to see me cry. Like, I don't like people to know that I'm sensitive. I'm very, like, I was raised. I had 6 brothers, so we didn't play that. Like, if you was a crybaby, you was getting beat up, pretty much. And so I didn't want to show people that I was, like, a sensitive person. So I didn't accept it for, like, a long time. I didn't. 2 days later, they confirmed it. They're like, you're not pregnant anymore. Like, your HCG levels are dropping. I'm like, okay. It didn't hit me until we went to do more blood work, because the best thing about my doctor is she wanted to make sure that I was okay after she confirmed it. So we went to do blood work. It didn't hit me until we went downstairs to get blood work, and I seen a lady with a baby. That's when it hit me. That's when the tears started streaming down my face. That's when I realized, like, my chance, even though I was young, my chance to become a mother was over. That's what I felt. That's what it felt like. It felt like, oh, it's over. It's never happening again. Like, I'm never going to get pregnant again. Like, this isn't happening. It was the hardest thing in the world. It was the hardest thing in the world to experience for me. Not only because I wanted the baby, but because I knew my fiance wanted it. And as much as he was, like, trying to act tough and act like it wasn't affecting him, like, oh, I'm okay, it hurt him more than I felt like it hurt me, because he wanted the baby just as bad as I do. So, I mean, the thing about it is having a miscarriage is, I know people feel like, oh, you weren't even that far along, it wasn't a baby, it was just a fetus. It doesn't matter. Embryo, right? Not a fetus. It's an embryo, right? I mean, embryo, like, it doesn't matter, though. As a woman, that takes a part of you. Because you start to feel like in the back of your mind, am I less of a woman because I can't produce a kid? Like, is my man not going to be happy with me because we didn't have a child? I feel like, this society tries to take away that pain that you have, and you try to put up a facade like, oh, I'm okay, knowing you're not. Because at the end of the day, it's not. It's times, like, we talk about it, and it's times, like, where you're like, dang, like, man, if we could do it all over again, I would have kids. Like, I wonder what we were going to have. Well, let me get back to, sorry, let me go ahead and get back to what happened. So whenever they confirmed it, the doctor actually confirmed that the reason why I had a miscarriage was because I was pregnant while I was still on a Nexplanon. And the Nexplanon creates additional hormones in your body. On top of that, they had already did x-rays on my body. So my baby wasn't going to make it because I had too much going on. By the time they took out my birth control, it was too late for them to try to save the baby. And my doctor confirmed that if I would have had that baby, our child, we like to call that baby Jackson. If we would have had baby Jackson, it wouldn't have been, it would have been a really hard pregnancy on me, and it would also been a really hard baby because my baby would have been sick. And so that's what happened. So that ended up happening. Now I'm to the point where I come to grips with it, and I believe, like, I'm a very spiritual person. Like, I believe in God, like, 100%. Like, I was raised by a pastor. Like, my grandmother is a pastor, and I just believe in God. Like, you can't shake my faith for nothing. God always gives you things for a reason. God puts things in your life because you're the walking testimony for the next person to understand it. We're to the point where we're like, it happened for a reason. It made us stronger as a relationship. Like, there is nothing in this world that could put anything in our path that we couldn't overcome, because that right there, that probably was like the strain of our relationship. It was a lot of times where we thought, like, because I got so depressed, like, I was so depressed. I mean, I'm still struggling with depression now. I mean, I know it's not a lot of people don't really talk about it, but I mean, for me, I'm gonna tell you straight up, like, I was so depressed. Like, I was so depressed, like, it was the hardest thing in the world for me to overcome. I'm still dealing with depression. I'm not gonna say I'm completely cured, but it made me understand that my fiance was my number one. Like, he was right by me. Like, he was my ride or die. There was nobody in this world that could have went through that besides him to understand what we went through. Like, and I think that it made us stronger. He loves me even more. I mean, I love him even more. Yeah, you do, don't you? Lies. If he tells you he doesn't, he's a liar. But no, we love each other, and like, I just felt like it needed to be said. That's my story. I just want to say, anybody that's going through this, don't feel like because somebody else tells you your baby, oh, you were only 4 weeks pregnant, or you was barely a month. Don't let nobody tell you that, because let me tell you, until that person experiences it, they can't tell you what it feels like to lose a child. Because at the end of the day, even though it was an embryo, and it was a little sea monkey baby or sea biscuit baby, whatever you want to call it, you still lost a child. Like, if the baby would have made it to term, it would have still been a baby. Like, you still lost your child. Don't let nobody take your mourning away from how you grieve over that situation. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my video. This is my first video. I'm super scared. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram _big boobs. That is _BIGBOOBS. Follow me on Twitter at _Cole's World. Thanks for watching.